creepers and things that go bump in the night. Welcome back to yet another episode of Creature of the Night. I'm your host, Toxin, your friendly neighborhood sinner. You should know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to let you know every time I upload so you can keep up to date with me, guys. Let's get on this. If you haven't seen the original one, I suggest that you go back and see that one. I believe it was back in 2009, and I believe I do have a review up for it already. But let's get into this. Orphan, first kill.
Mother protects her family. No matter what.
That's the story of, that's the glory of love.
It was definitely like a different take on home invasions, which is what I really liked. It wasn't bad, it wasn't really good, but it was what it was. But it was definitely one of those ones that I kind of forgot about. So seeing that Paramount Plus, if you have it, you don't have it, get on it, guys. Catch up. There's a lot of shit on there that's worth to watch. Paramount Plus came out with the first kill, basically a prequel showing Esther's rise, essentially. Now, again, if you have seen the original one, we know that she is in the Sarns Institute over in Moscow, Russia. And but what we don't know is like how she got over here in America. Now, the original one does kind of touch base on it just a little bit, but this one goes into a little bit more depth, which is I really love. That's one thing I do like about prequels, just because it does give us a little bit more backstory just than the vague backstory that the original ones give us. Again, like there's different people have different opinions about if we need prequels, if we need sequels. It's up to debate. Sometimes I think we do need them. Sometimes I think we don't. Again, to each his own. It's our own opinion, guys, so don't get butthurt over it. But again, what I do love is that it does go into it goes into more depth and details about how she got her rise, how she escaped from the Sarns Institute, how she took over a missing girl in America who's been missing, I believe they said, for like 4 years when she was taken, and she just comes up with his name and kind of doesn't really do too much back research on the family that. From the kid that was kidnapped, but she gets the police to call essentially the detective that was on the case, and she gets a free ride to America. The mom comes and picks her up. Again, we're already kind of seeing that, like the mom's kind of iffy about the whole situation. She is definitely keeping an eye on Esther. Meanwhile, like same as the brother, but meanwhile the dad is just ecstatic. It kind of like rejuvenated the father. It brought him back to life. It got him back into painting, which I thought was dope too, because again, if you did see the original one, we see that she is not only a great piano player and a painter, but she's I would say like an underneath painter. She paints with kind of a certain paint that shines in black light that that you can only see in black light. You see the painting that she wants you to see. And then, boom, like a big reveal, you get to see, like, the underlining painting that she has. And as we've seen in the original one, she kind of goes into depth with her room about seducing the father, being with the father sexually, and, like, some other shit, that's hidden. So that's where it's cool to see that this is the family that she got it from. But, as it's going on, they're taking therapy, people are starting to notice she's acting differently. She has an accent. Not things are adding up. She's calling the birds of the therapist because I guess she's been there before by a different name. But the dad is just ecstatic. He's been rejuvenated. He's even more lovable with his wife. And that's when we see the detective that they had hired starts putting two and two together, lifts the fingerprints, and then discovers that this is not Esther. But as we've seen in the original one, it's always too late. She ends up murking the shit out of him. Before she takes the final blow, the mom shows up and actually ends up killing the detective. And this is where we get the big plot twist, guys. Spoiler alert, that Esther was never really missing. She was actually killed. And she was killed by her older brother because of old, like, sibling bickering, and it was just an accident. I don't really remember if it did say exactly what happened. It was just they were roughhousing and something happened. But there is jumping ahead, there is a little scene where they are trying to manhandle this new Esther, and he just flips out and throws her down the stairs, and it kind of looks like he's been there before, so maybe that could be something, that's how they did it. And she figures out that, okay, you're not Esther, you're this older woman, we're going to benefit from each other, because you brought my husband back to me, and I love it, and I just don't want him to go through that again, so you'll live in my house, you know, and we'll just, you know, benefit each other. Weird fucking situation, but we kind of see that she's like, well, what was I supposed to do, you know, have my daughter dead and then them take away my only living kid, the son, like take him away because he did murder her. Like that kind of to me was saying like, oh well, it kind of didn't sound like it was an accident, like you put it. Maybe he like intentionally killed her and like maybe like beat her or something, like to where okay, they're gonna take this kid away. It wasn't just roughhousing, you know. Again, even like this is the point where they're confessing and like Esther is even like, what the fuck? Is like, this is like even fucked up for like my standards. Again, guys. But as it goes on, you know, that's when, you know, because the mother and the son know there is definitely tension. They kind of disrespect one another. They're not listening to each other throughout the plan, and that's when they're like, you know what, we're gonna have to make this bitch disappear again. But we'll have it to where she ends up killing herself, because at least that way it could give the dad closure. You know, oh, we don't know what happened to her for those 4 years that she had been kidnapped or whatever. She just couldn't deal with it. It took her life. An easy way out for the dad to still be, you know, there. So while the dad is out out and trying to sell his artwork to a gallery, like they put a plan and focus to like just basically just make it look like she fucking slit her own wrist, and she ends up fighting back, taking out the son in a badass way, shooting him with his own crossbow, and then stabbing him with his own, I guess you would call it a lance, because he is a fencing champion. And then ultimately going toe to toe with the mother, like we've seen in the original one, but the mother is triumphant in the original versus this one. They accidentally set the house on fire. They make it to the roof. And the dad is kind of left with that decision, because as he runs into the flaming building, because he sees them hanging from the roof, it's up to him, like, which one am I going to save? Honestly, in my opinion, it kind of looked like he was trying to save them both at the same time. Not like, oh, I'm going to save my daughter, forget my wife. It's just, he just didn't get to his wife in time, and she slips, falls, and cracks her head open, literally see her brain fly across the pavement. That's when he lifts up Esther, and he's like, you know, comforting her, and he does something to where he kind of like smushes her face, and that's when we see her fake teeth, the dentures that she is wearing, move, and you see that she has older teeth, like something's wrong with them. She puts two and two together, and she accidentally like has a flip out moment, like when he calls her a freak or calls her disgusting, and he pushes her off the house, and he ends up dying right next to his wife. And boom, you know, now she's orphaned, and then, you know, we know the story from there and on there. She goes from family to family. Guys, again, I don't think we really needed a prequel, but it was pretty dope. I did love the story about how dangerous she really was in the Sarnes Institute, how she escaped, and how she became Esther, how she became this false identity, which was really, really dope. Positives, again, I love the backstory. I love that they brought back the original actress. She kind of looks the fucking same as she did in the original one. I love the brutality. It was like mystery drama. I did get a little bit more action-packed versus the original one, where it was a little bit more horror-based. It kind of relied on that shock and awe. Versus this one, it was just, you know, the fighting, the intense, like, jump scares that everybody relies on nowadays. You know, I guess that would be, you know, the negatives now. But guys, ultimately, just because I enjoyed it throughout the whole thing, and it did keep me guessing, it kept me at the edge of my seat, and then that huge plot twist to where it was the son and the mom in on the whole thing, and how that they originally killed the original Esther, and then how she became Esther, and it was just shocking to see her facial expression when she saw, wow, like, I can't believe you did this to your daughter. Meanwhile, she's doing fucked up shit too. It was just insane. Again, very engaging, guys. I give it 2 thumbs up. I give it about an 8 out of 10 for me. Let me know what you thought about it when you check out the film. Did we need it? Did we not need it? Tell me in the comments, guys. Let me know what you thought about this review down in the comments. And again, guys, if you have any suggestions for me that you want me to review, versus like any, I know a few horror films have dropped. I will get on that as soon as I can. But if you have any new films that you want me to check out, or any old films that you want me to check out and review, let me know, guys. I'm always up for suggestions, and I will give you a shout out in my videos. You should know. Like I always say, guys, especially in this film, if you're not sinning, you're not having fun. Beware the moon, guys.